Capital Community Television, in cooperation with the United States Australian Football League, presents the 2016 USAFL Western Regional Tournament from Salem, Oregon. Our match today features the Seattle Grizzlies taking on the Portland Steelheads in an all-Cascadia matchup. Hello again, everyone. I'm Brian Barish alongside Anthony Lally here in Salem for another game from the USAFL Western Regional Tournament. This is a Division II men's match between the Steelheads and Grizzlies, two teams that know each other very well in this Cascadia rivalry. We had a chance to see Portland earlier today as they fell to Sacramento 24-8. This is our first look at the Grizzlies. Anthony, you got a chance to see them play in the Stumptown Throwdown last year here on CCTV. What are you looking forward for them?
You know, they're definitely a team in a rebuilding phase for sure, but they have a couple of very good players I'm interested to see will provide leadership for them today. So Max DePina, a US qualified player, very athletic player, and one of their Aussie players, Big Matt Wood, tall, lanky, really long arms, good reach. He's going to be busy going up for those contests for sure. So I'm looking forward to seeing those two guys play. They have a lot of new players, so there's a lot of guys new to the game. They also have a new playing strip, so they look pretty sharp today in their green and black. And so green, of course, Seattle's the Emerald City, Washington's the Evergreen State. So there's big brother, little brother rivalry going on here today as well.
Indeed, and of course, as we mentioned, the Steelheads falling 24-8 in that first game. It was a little bit of the whole ground game versus the air attack in there and losing to the Sacramento Suns. What do they need to do to beat the Seattle team, you think?
I think they've just got to be patient. They're probably a little more skillful and a little more cohesive. And we saw pockets of that in the previous game. And they've had a game under the belt. So in terms of working in together, getting some of those combinations together, they'll probably hit the ground running a little better. So I think if they hit the ground running, they're patient, get some front running going, some possession, they'll do well in this game.
Yeah, especially considering, as we mentioned, they're very used to playing in some of these big games, and they are familiar with Seattle. Now, the last time that these two teams met, it was in Seattle a few weeks ago, right before the 4th of July holiday. And Portland actually fell by 4 points to Seattle. It was a little bit of an upset. They're going to want to change that here, especially relatively speaking on home ground.
No, absolutely. And, Seattle have done well with recruiting. So although players are new to the game, there is a lot of athletes out there. So you will see, hopefully, a good running game. And we should see some good footwork from some of the new players.
You mentioned DePina, and I'm really high on him because I think he's absolutely fantastic. He possesses a lot of athleticism, but more importantly, he picked up the game very fast. And we saw him, he actually made his debut for the Grizzlies last year at the Western Regionals. Seattle teamed actually with the San Diego Lions and fell in both of those games to both of these two teams. But I think he'll be the talisman for this Seattle team.
Well, thanks, Brian. And looks like the umpires have called both teams in. Looks like we're getting set, ready for the match here.
Yep.
Support for tonight's program was provided by MAPS Credit Union, premier sponsor of Salem Kaiser Schools. Visit one of our convenient locations in the Willamette Valley or our website, mapscu.com. And by Les Schwab Tire Centers, doing the right thing since 1952. Experience the Les Schwab difference at your neighborhood Les Schwab Tire Center or visit us on the web at leschwab.com.
And here we go. We're underway. Seattle wins it out of the top. They're going from left to right, as we mentioned, in the black and the green jumpers, and moving backwards to go forwards here as they work it around to Daniel Knoll up on that far side. And here's Luke Mooney, who was bit of a prime mover in that first game, and play on, says the umpires. They were able to get that on the right. Down here is DePina, who we mentioned. He handballs it off, and getting tackled quickly there is the number 90 for Seattle, who is Kenneth Noguere. So free kick. Long kick up that far side. Marked nicely as Robert Marshall came up to take the lead, and now here comes Seattle back the other direction through DePina. DePina will go on that far corridor. Couldn't find a target, but then picking it up is Coventry. Coventry's going to get swarmed on. Or check that, that's not Coventry there. That was Caleb Elliott. But here is Seattle, who will keep the flow going in deep, and that one is marked nicely. And a good job by Tom Tex Edmonds to take the mark out in the pocket. So the Grizzlies will have the chance for the first points here, Anthony.
Yeah, good assured start from the Grizzlies. Some good movement there. And you notice there's some tall timber. So there's Matthew Wood over in the gold square.
Kick is up on the way from Edmonds. It's heading towards the sticks. It's touched before the goal line. It comes back into the field of play. He shakes through, just gets his foot to the ball. Could have been high tackle, no call. Play to the ground it goes, and player goes flipping there. Number 40, that's Matt Wood, as you just mentioned, Anthony, and we'll have a ball up. Just underway, Seattle and Portland.
Well, the umps awarded a kick here.
Oh, interesting. Well, probably, I might have been high tackle, might have been an illegal contact in that. So here is Wood, and they're adjusting him in.
Metronomic striker of the ball here. So let's see how he goes. A pretty acute angle out to the right.
Wood walks in. The kick is on the way. It is. What is it?
I think we have it behind.
It is a behind.
So
Did not see a demonstrative signal.
Just push to the left.
Yep, so it's gone in between one of the big sticks and one of the small sticks on the outside. So the first point of the game goes to Seattle. They lead 1-0 with about, I would say, about 3 minutes gone here in the first half. Again, 2 20-minute halves. They go out, and it's marked by Coventry, who did a good job to come up to the half back line and take the mark. He looks for a target dead in the middle of the field, but a nice mark taken. Stepping up was number 0, Jason Clifford. He's the big ruckman, almost like the big red dog, but he's not. He's wearing black and green. Ball goes to the ground. Everyone does a little bit of a bear hug, and we'll have a ball up.
Well, Grizzlies do like the salmon.
They do. They like to eat salmon, and that's probably what the Grizzlies want to do here. They want to eat steelheads, at least on the scoreboard, not in the literal sense. That would just be weird. Meanwhile, the game continues. Picking it up there is Brian Flaherty. Flaherty with a little worm burner, and it goes in. There's some pinball wizard action going on here, and then a little handball out the back. Wright able to pick it up for Portland. Just gets his foot. It's a wounded dead duck. It bounces away, and now trying to get on, but here's Aguirre who finds Worden. Back to Aguirre up on the near side, and here comes the little Italian. He runs that one up far in a one-hop, and a good job by the Seattle defender. Not the best of kicks, although it was affected by a tackle. Worden uses his own man as a shield, gets a good kick away. It's a 1-on-2, and stepping up to get it there is Alex Jessup, number 33. So here is Jessup. He'll look left as the Grizzlies try to push forward. It skitters by his man, and then going on to get it there is the number 4, which is Tyler Cox. And Cox is taken down, and a little bit of pushing and shoving. This is a rivalry match, folks. You're going to see some of this. And it looks like it's going to be a free kick to the Steelheads, although they're checking with the no, it's a free kick to the Grizzlies. So a little bit of confusion even up here.
So caught with the ball, Cox.
Yep. Eric Waby had the free kick. Ball goes to the ground, and it squirts out Squirtle style. And now up here is Weinstock, who kicks it out to the near side, digging in after it. Oh, good job and a good shepherd to keep the ball alive for Seattle. They tap it back, and now that one is hit out to the near side. Comes dangerously close. Worden again has it, gets away from his man, handballs it up to Aguirre, who handballs it back into the field of play, looking for 32 for Portland. And now here's Worden, who throws it on to the right. It's a long kick in, but again, Jessup, who the ball had handcuffed him a little bit, he just gets to it, throws it on to the left up that far side, and here is DePina. DePina couldn't hang on to it cleanly. He's bustled over nicely, and then he is stood up and thrown to the ground by number 90 for Seattle. Still looking there, and the ball is tied up, and we'll have a ball up. Still 1-0 Seattle. Here in this Division 2, there are 2 men's divisions and a women's division.
So Seattle definitely came to play.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, we talked about the USAFL rankings. They are currently unranked, but that may change if they can pick up another win here over Portland, especially here in Oregon. The mark is taken defensively there by Will Sandman. Up that far side he goes, and taken down again is Coyle. But now here's DePina. DePina is going to get taken down. That's got to be holding the ball, and it is. So
hammered into the ground.
Hammered into the ground. So a tackle there while he was holding on to the ball. That means it's a free kick to Portland, coming back the other direction. Long kick up that right side. Chasing after it is Ben Oriol. Oriol goes back. He handballs it on, and the ball goes over and out for a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, so you'll see Will Sandman in the halfback line. He's a veteran from the Portland Steelheads, and it's good to see him playing this game. He missed the first one.
He's also got a really good song named after him.
He does.
Or it's a really old song. I don't know if it's any good. Maybe it is a little bit. Anyway. Ball is somewhere on that far side as it comes back into play, and they bootleg around, does the Seattle defender. He'll come out to the near side. There's nobody there. He tried to soccer that one on, did the Portland player, and then finally picked up, handballed, again looking for Weinstock, but he couldn't handle on. Again, the ball flies up into the air. And then...
That's Adam Grimsby. Gets it away to Sandstrom.
Yep, here's Sandman. Long kick, and it's marked.
Oh,
nicely
well
there
taken.
by Mooney. Well, Luke Mooney looked like Cameron Mooney on that. I think our director, Allen, might get a kick out of that one. Maybe not.
Sizing up the kick out to the right.
Yep.
And a tight angle again.
It's on the way. And it is.
Claps all around.
Dead center perfect, our first goal of the game, and it goes to the Portland Steelheads. Portland 1 straight 6, Seattle 1 point. That's a 5-point lead on a goal by Warden. That's great build-up there by the Steelheads, taking advantage of the opportunity and the free kick. And they're going to need to be opportunistic, especially the way Seattle has played here. And no mistake from right out in front. So 6-1 the score. As we mentioned, so this is a three-ring circus. It pretty much is here in Division II. Of course, Seattle will play Sacramento a little bit later on, which that game probably will be the determining factor and see who wins the Division II championship. Up on that far side, soccered along by Brian Flaherty. Handballs it back into the middle. He went down to go get it, was the Seattle player, and then he is thrown off there, the number 45, which is Ken Vartanian. Vartanian goes in deep. He has a teammate there, but no, it's Coyle, who once again, as he did in the first game, did a great job, but the kick is only as far as, I believe that's Matthew Zappel there, number 93.
Yeah, there's 5 Matthews on the Seattle roster, so we'll try and keep up with it, people.
And I'm Henry VIII, I am. As picked up as Coventry out to the left side. It's coming right in front of us. Warden, nice mark.
Clean mark, well done.
That's a good, not only is it in the air, but that's a good contested mark. He has a lead in front of him if he wants him. Instead, he handballs it back to Coventry, who goes straight out into the middle of the ground. It is tipped off the top. And in tip-top shape, ball's on the ground. Everyone's getting held off of it. That could have been high contact. It wasn't. Kicked forward again by Flaherty. That one will bring rain. Knocked forward. Good spoil from behind by the Portland defender. And then the ball goes to ground. Wright is in there doing the dirty work, and then he's held up. He just gets a handball off. Portland does get a kick ahead, but it's all green and black jumpers. They handball it around, and then a good kick out to the near side. 2-on-1 contest, now 2-on-2. It spills to Justin Elliott, who handballs it back to Adam Carchidi. So Carchidi will go deep. That's a pretty good kick up on that far side, but nobody really there. Over to get it was Marshall for Seattle. Portland still has it through Mooney. Up on that right side, picked up there by Knoll. Knoll kicks that one in, but it's 2-on-1, and once again, it is Alex Jessup who goes up and takes a nice defensive mark. I've been pretty impressed by him in the early going. He's one of their new pickups.
I'd agree with you, Brian. He's done very well so far.
Very, very capable. And here is Max DePina, who's in on Weinstock, and then he finds some help on that far side and kicks that one out. It looked like it ricocheted off of Dan Stoll for Seattle and is going out of bounds. Still 6-1, Portland to lead, Anthony.
Definitely very polished so far from Seattle. They're making the most of their possessions.
Now here comes Portland as they try to back. Here's Weinstock. Nope.
Plucked out.
By Wood. Wood with a pretty good kick in towards the goal. One-on-one contest up over the defender's head there, and then just keeping it in was Gaulista. Gaulista, who was busy in the last game, he's taken down. And it's going to be a free kick from right out in front. I think it was pushing the back. I didn't see the initial call. I just saw what was afterwards.
Yes, they look like a two-man tackle rugby style. I think second player there from Portland.
So here is Tex Edmonds, who scored the first point of the game, I believe. We have a pretty good angle from our camera position. So here's Edmonds. The kick is on the way. It's low, but it's there.
It's there.
Goal to the Grizzlies, and they're back in front by a point. 1-1-7 Seattle, 1-6 Portland, and a goal by Tex Edmonds. And again, a good setup, and just as Portland did earlier, it's just a matter of converting when the opponent gives you a gift.
Low and hard. He might have taken that one again, but he got the points.
Yep. Hey, they all look like beautiful 100-meter blasts in the end. Although, if you can find someone to kick the ball 100 meters, I'd like to meet them. Out of the middle again as we start. Caleb Elliott and a free kick. Elliott handballs to Coventry. That reminds me almost of a halfback option in gridiron football where you have a man loose. Clifford gets away from a tackle. Goes up on that far side. Again, it's Coyle. It's just out of his reach, though. Portland will come back with it. It's a nice kick where he finds Coventry. Tasmanian native goes up the right side. Marked nicely.
Very clean mark.
By 42. Back into the middle. Marked again, this time by Mooney. Stringing these together. Mooney goes up the far side. Marked again.
That's big Seth Crosby. Great mark. He's only new this season as well.
Yep.
Just showed it with his shank, but cleaned up nicely by Portland.
Yep. Derek Blank with the mark in the middle, and this will be a scoring opportunity. So, again, back and forth. And this is, we've seen a lot of these games here today, Anthony. We've seen a lot of this, which is good to see. A lot of Titanic struggles. There's a kick. It's up on the way. It is just off to the side, and it is through for a behind. That evens the score. 1-1-7 Portland, 1-1-7 Seattle. If you're not terribly familiar with Aussie rules and the line score there on the bottom left of your screen, the G is goals, the B is behinds, and the T is the total score.
Mark well taken by Adam Lachlan Grumby.
So Lachlan Grumby, everyone's screaming his name. He's telling everybody to settle down, waiting for a lead. I wonder if he'll back himself. Left-footed kick on the way. It's a centering ball. They go up.
Ooh.
Somebody got it. No, they're going to say, give it to me. No clean possession.
So it's a ball up.
Yep. I think that's the right call. Good job by our umpires.
4 arms around that.
Yep. Knocked around and then cleared out by Seattle. Long kick down the middle. Knocked away by Wright. And then spilling that one away out of the hands with Shannon Davey as Wright was there. Left-footed kick again by Lachlan Grumby. Coventry ducks away from a tackle, throws it onto his left foot. It's deep, knocked down by Jessup, but we have a whistle. And I think he's going to get called for high contact. He is. High contact by Jessup, so the defense was good, but probably a little too good.
So we've got Gabe going for goal here.
And Gabe kicked a really good goal in that first game against Sacramento. This one will be from a little bit further out, and oh boy, he's thrown that off to the left, and it's only good for a minor score. Oh no, it is good for a goal. From here it looked like it was a behind, but it did go through, says our goal umpire.
I guess we were deceived by the angle there, Brian.
I don't know. There was a little bit of argument there from the Seattle players, but in any event, it's been given as a goal. So that's put Portland up by that one scoring margin. It's 13-7. Here it is again. Let's see what you think. I don't know. I'd say that's pretty close. But in any event, the goal umpire is supposed to have a better view than we are. And if that's the case, then I trust her. So 2-1-13 Portland, 1-1-7 Seattle. We are past the halfway mark of this first half.
Very competitive match.
Very good, and this is what we expected. These two teams are very evenly matched. Seattle is definitely most improved. Seattle made the Division I Grand Final in 2009, really as a surprise package against Denver, and probably one of the most exciting Grand Finals in Mason, Ohio that year. Nice mark by Warden. Fell by 3 points to Denver. Oh, nice handball again. Here's Grumby. Lachlan Grumby with a long kick into the middle. Marks!
Oh, great mark.
He got higher than Joe Cocker on that one.
Great lead-up play
Luke
between
Mooney.
Wharton and Lachlan Gromby.
That one was right up there with Robertson from Denver's mark earlier. So here is Luke Mooney to extend the lead. The kick is on the way. It is dead center. Perfect. And that extends their lead. It's 19-7.
So good stretch there from Portland, linking some together. Good interplay. It's nice to see Wharton and Lachlan Gromby working hard down this left side. I think they've exposed a little bit Seattle there a little bit.
Also helps when you take such a nice mark like that. Here's the finish. And from there, it's pretty academic. When you take a mark like that, you have to feel that the kick's going to come pretty truly, and Mooney does the best. He's been, I think, the best on ground, and I think he was one of the best on grounds in the Sacramento game, but I think he's been their best on ground so far. So 3-1-19 to 1-1-7, 2 goals the difference. Just a reminder, if you like what you're seeing and you want to find a team in your area, you can check out USAFL.com and use our Find a Team Finder. We have 36 teams across the country, including these 2 right here and the others that are here in Salem, here at the Capital FC Sports Complex. Free kick, meanwhile, to Tyler Cox. Nice mark as he finds 42, unlisted. And then that one is kicked. Again, a one-on-one contest, but a nice mark defensively by, no, he's told, or was he? No, free kick. It's either free kick or the mark was given. In any event, no advantage was paid, and I think the whistle was a little slow. So, free kick now, up on that far side. I don't know what's going on. It's over there. It is. It's over that far side. I thought they were standing around for a moment. Ball comes back in up that far side. DePina, or check that. That was Jonathan Achilles up on that far side. I think it might be A-Shells, but I could be wrong. We'll see. You'll use A-Shells for now, and I apologize in advance if I get it wrong. Handball that up high. Down it goes. Picking it up again is Portland down low. Aguirre throws his man off the ball. Warden's got it. And then coming through, and then it comes to Coventry. Coventry's kick. It's on the way. It's a one-on-one contest, but it bounces off to the side. It's through for a minor scorer. So another behind, 1 point to Portland. And that takes them on to 20. 3 goals, 2 behinds, 20 points. 1-1-7 Seattle. As we are in the back end of this first half. Brian Barish alongside Anthony Lally.
Clean mark from Growth.
Nice job. Looks out to the near side where he has Flaherty. Flaherty will spin around, kick that one up, having to come in and take the mark, and doing so is Brad Donahue. Donahue will look to continue up the corridor, just over the reach of his big rock. And now up on the near side, digging after it is Wright. Wright gets to it, and then Davey throws him to the ground, gets it down to Carchidi. Carchidi pops it up in the air. That barely went 15 meters, but Lachlan Gromby gets it. He throws it onto the left foot, which is right foot. Coventry almost had it. He got his left foot, but he keeps it alive. He taps it to his own advantage before being taken down. Handballs it back where he finds Flaherty, and Flaherty will start it back. Let's see if they can hit on the counter. No. The siren will beat them, and that will do it for the first half of play here at this game here in the Western Regionals in Salem. The score, it's the Portland Steelheads 20 and the Seattle Grizzlies 7. Pretty good first half of this one in this Cascadia match.
Very good. And the score may be favouring Portland a little more than it should.
Yeah.
I thought Seattle started very, very well. They seem to be moving the ball around. Some of those skill execution and interplay is looking really good. Plenty of disposals away. A couple of players, Flaherty, I think, has been really involved early.
Yep.
Davies had a few touches. We've seen Matt Wood trying to be busy. He's had just a few balls sky over him a little bit. Probably would have taken those marks, if he had his time over, but he's playing himself into the game. I think these guys are doing well considering they're just shaking out the rust.
Mm-hmm. It's a quality game as this rivalry should be. Again, the score, Portland 20, Seattle 7. Watch this film. It'll tell you all about the Australian football scene here in the U.S. and how you can get involved. We'll be right back for the second half of this one here on CCTV.
The white competition and a feeder competition there to the AFL.
You're the truest form of an athlete playing footy. You got to cover long distances, got to be able to have endurance, be quick, athletic, sprint, be strong, and have skill at the same time. And I think that if you fancy yourself an athlete, this is a sport.
Everyone plays offense and defense, and everyone is a skilled player. You need to have reasonable endurance, reasonable speed, reasonable strength. There's no restrictions on how tall you need to be. Some guys can be, high 6 feet. Some people are in their 5'5", so it doesn't discriminate against anyone. Anyone can play. The thing that Americans would find particularly exciting about it is the fact that it's so fast-paced. The game's continuous. It doesn't stop. The game just continues to keep rolling.
Future of the game, I think that we need to get into more colleges. You look at a team like Minnesota and what they're able to do with college scholarships. Kids going over to Australia for a semester and then come back and they're helping with Minnesota's team. I think that's where our real development's going to come in, and I think we need to really foster the college game.
It's a sport that's really growing, not only in Australia but all around the world. And there's been a few signings of young American college players in the last few years that have made the transition to our sport and done really well.
So a wide range of ages and fitness levels, and it's really a sport for anybody.
So I looked up Aussie rules on YouTube and I thought it was really cool, and that's how I found out about it.
It brings together certain elements from all different sports. Sometimes you might not be the top 1% of a particular sport, but you can use what you know about that sport, and it all is applied very well in Aussie rules football.
Just check out if there's a club in your local area, and from my own experience, both Aussies and Americans in the club are really welcoming, and they took good care of me, so they'll definitely look out for you, and it's a good time.
Back here in Salem, Oregon for the second half of this game between the Portland Steelheads and the Seattle Grizzlies. It's Portland up 20-7. Joining us now here in the commentary position is the head coach of the USA Revolution men's national team, Tom Ellis. Tom, thanks for stopping up with us here today.
No, it's awesome. I really appreciate it. What a pretty place to be playing some footy.
Yeah, and I know that you're very keen to see things because you're paring your team down as we get set for IC17, the International Cup Championship, of course, next year in Melbourne. First of all, what are you looking for?
Well, the good thing is some of these guys went to a camp early in the year in April, so we're out here now getting to see, after half the season goes, to see how they've improved. So it's been really good to see where they were at the beginning of the season and see where they're at now.
Who are you keeping an eye on in this game? I know we've mentioned Max DePino a lot.
Yeah, Max is definitely one that we're keeping an eye on, but there's some new guys in here that we're taking a look at.
Second half is underway. Knocked forward. Here's Coventry who picks it up, or tries to anyway. And then that is taken down. I believe that might be a free kick here, Anthony. No, it's going to be a ball up. I'm sorry. So ball comes back up in the air. Handballs it up into the middle. Here is Davey. Davey goes up the left side. And it is almost taken. And now back the other way comes Portland. Handball. Nope, that's a steal. The kick is up on the way. And they have picked their pocket
That's
for a
Eric
goal.
Waby. Great goal.
Eric Waby with a nice goal. And Seattle answers quickly, and they cut into the lead. Seattle goes to 2-1-13. It's back to a 7-point game.
It's an unforgiving game sometimes.
That's pretty good awareness there by
Very
Waby.
good awareness. And Davey to get that ball up on the lead up too was fantastic.
Yep, and a good job of pressure.
Got himself in a little bit of space.
So, Tommy, I know that you had mentioned, so what are you, I know you're also planning a camp this weekend or planning some sort of activities for the national team.
We've still got a camp next weekend in Florida. We'll take a look at some of the guys down there. And then in August, we've got another camp in Philly. And we're probably going to squeeze one more into Denver, which is where I'm from.
Right.
So it'll be an easy one for me to handle.
Now, I know, I know you've said, well, hang on a second. There's Davey, long kick, and there's a mark again. And all of a sudden, they are queuing up in the forward line for Seattle. A nice mark by Tex Edmonds.
As a defender, get in front of your man.
Yep. That's it. That's all you got to do is man up. So here is Edmonds for their second in a minute. Kick is on the way. Oh, everyone's running left. and it's a behind, it looks like. So behind to Seattle, and that takes them on to 2-2-14. So you've come out. You're still pretty confident, I think, that the U.S. team can win this International Cup, especially next year.
Yeah, we've got our work cut out for us, obviously. We don't ever get to play together as a team, so we have to go out into the Cup and out-athlete people.
Oh, well done, Seth. Right. Pluck that out.
So that's what we're here for. We're looking to find the best athletes that play in the game right now. And
Nice.
we have some really good athletes that can play the game. It's exciting.
Nice mark by Coyle up the near side, but it's all green and black, and the mark is taken right in front of us by Marshall. Marshall throws it onto his left foot, high up in the air. Wood takes a nice sky mark.
We did see exceptional quality of play in the earlier game today too, and there's definitely a lot of talent out here, and it gets better every year.
Yeah, especially on the American side.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice juggling mark by Kenneth Noguer. And they handball it back, and here comes Seattle back in the other direction. They've got the momentum, and they've got the fire. To the inside goes Clifford. Clifford goes up in the middle. It's punched away. 2-on-1 in favor of Portland. They get it, and it is a 32 there who is Lachlan Grumby, and he goes back into the middle. Look at them weave through as they come out to the near side. Nice mark by Derek Blank. Blank
Plays
will
on
fly up the
quickly.
right side. He sold some candy. He stays on his feet. He left his man in his dust. Kick for goal. Tipped on the line, been rushed through for a behind.
This is always the way during our broadcast that we have some really exciting play when we have a special guest. So.
Yeah.
Here goes Max as we talk.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm really excited by him, Tom, and I've mentioned him. I almost haven't been able to shut up about him just because I'm impressed by how athletic he is.
Yeah, he's super athletic, fast. He's got a good jump on him. He just needs more and more game time, which he's getting.
Here comes Portland again, but Seattle's able to clear it out.
But here's another guy, Clifford, the one that just kicked that, number 0. He's brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's played a few games.
Yeah.
But athletically, very good.
So these guys that are coming in, like Clifford, and I know we're seeing some women as well who are just now getting into the game. What are you looking for in terms of consideration for next year, possibly? Obviously, time's relatively short, and you guys don't get together that often.
Right. Well, I mean, at this point, we've got to find guys that can play the game, that know the game pretty well. We've got some newer guys that are coming on that could possibly earn a spot just because they're so athletic. I mean, you take a guy like Brandon Kaufman, who's now over playing with the Suns.
Yep.
He's only played like 7 or 8 games, and he had 20 touches yesterday in the NEFL game.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So you can find athletes that could get into this game pretty quick.
Pretty good kick ahead there by Vartanian.
Yeah, obviously the athleticism is really, really important. It's such a runner's game, a leaper's game, all of these core athletic skills.
Ball real quick, ball in the corner here for Seattle. And keeping it alive there is Edmonds. Edmonds has been all over the place. It's going to be in short. He picks it up, turning around, kicks for goal. And is it there or was it touched? They're not sure.
That's a great play to show the athletic abilities that you've got to have. If he started about 115 yards away and ended up going all the way down to the end of the field to kick for goal.
A goal has been given.
So DePina.
Yeah, Max DePina, just as we were talking about him, and that cuts it to a 1-point game. 3-3-21 Portland, 3-2-20 Seattle. That was a bit of a scramble in front, and there was you just saw the replay there. The question was whether or not the ball was deflected. If it was deflected, then it wouldn't have been a goal. It would have been a behind, and that's what the discussion was.
So Tom, in some of these camps, are you running combine type activities just to try and capture snapshots of these athletic, moments that you're trying to see a brilliance out of the players?
Some of it. We're not doing a full combine type stuff because a lot of these guys that played the game before.
Right.
So we want to see how they handle with the ball. One of the things I really look for outside of the ability of that is how they react with the ball. Are they smooth with the ball? Do they panic with the ball?
Yeah.
We do lots of quick drills like that just to see that.
Portland, as Seattle tried to get forward, nice mark stretching there by Coventry. He'll throw it onto his right foot. Long one up, but a nice defensive mark there by Noguer.
So going to that perception of time with the ball, even when there isn't time, just really composed decision making.
Correct.
Now, you've got some guys, and you mentioned Brandon Kaufman, who used to play for the Bills, Chris Cox, who's playing out for the new Oklahoma City club, University of Wyoming. How much of that, are you because I know some of these guys, a lot of these guys are athletes, but some of these guys haven't played at that high level. We'll answer that in a second. Portland with a shot for goal, almost still in play, and it got knocked over for a behind, I believe, unless something else has been given.
The way I look at it is if you can take some of these elite athletes and put them in a mix of some of our guys that we currently have playing, it's going to be a really good mix of players to have, especially if you can take an athlete that can just go and shut down someone.
Yep.
Even if they haven't played that much, you can tell them, go get on this man, do not let him have the ball, and they can.
22-20 our score is Portland was just given a behind, so Seattle will have the ball kicked in on the near side as they find Marshall up to the near side. It comes out. Handball nicely there. They find Flaherty, but then he stood up, and they work it around nicely. Davey had his kick smothered. Straight out into the middle for 45 there, who is Vartanian, who's picked up activity. Here's Seb Aguiari, one-on-one. Oh, nice mark. He's going to play on. And let's see what well, hang on. Let's see. It has been given as a behind. I heard a whistle, and there was a man down as Nathan Gabe, who you would think should have gone back and had a shot. He played on. So it's back to a 1-point game, 22-21. Or rather, I'm sorry, it's 23-20. My apologies. I don't want to confuse anybody, especially myself. 23-20. As Jessup with the ball up the right side. I'll tell you what, in the games that we've seen, all the games, men's and women's side, some pretty exciting games so far, Tom.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch the competitive part of it all.
And you having spent a lot of time with Denver and having been the coach and really being a part of just about every single championship team, it's to see the cream of the crop coming out in this region that you're so familiar with has to be pretty satisfying.
It is fun to watch. I mean, back when we were at the top, you had two AFL guys out here, and Brandon Fedema and O'Brien from San Diego.
That's Mark.
So it was really, really awesome to play with some guys that had played in the AFL.
DePina, well, I just said nice mark for DePina, but it looks like he got called for high contact. Here is Coventry.
And those guys have it's part of what they did to get this game to the level where it's at. We were excited to come out and play and get as good as you could.
Yep. I think that's the way it is, and I think it's transitioning. I mean, we still have a lot of people who are coming out that are to learn a new sport and to play the game well. But then you also have those who are looking for a challenge. And for those who aren't familiar, of course, Mason Cox, Oklahoma, former basketball player for Oklahoma State, playing for Collingwood Magpies of the AFL. And, of course, Jason Holmes was a former basketball player playing for St. Kilda. You're seeing, I think, a lot of athletes who are seeing this not only as just trying another sport, but really with a little bit of a path, not only for the U.S. national team, but to the AFL.
Yeah, correct. If you look at the numbers, there's 28, 30 million people in Australia. We have 330 million people.
While we were talking, another behind for Portland, so that takes them on to 3-6-24.
Well, the other thing, too, that's unique here, you have so many centres that you need to visit to really spot the talent, right? So,
correct.
So, do you have an opportunity to look outside players that are currently playing, elite basketball players, etc.? Is there a recruitment program there?
Yeah, I do. I actually recruit guys that are cut from the NFL. Yep. So Brandon Kaufman was the one I recruited. Talked him into coming out and trying a crazy game.
Yeah.
We've had other guys. We had a guy, Josh Chichester, that tried. He was a two-sport athlete from Louisville. He played tight end for Louisville and also played basketball there.
What's funny, what's funny to me is when they talk about, so the USAFL and the AFL host this combine every year that Mason Cox and Jason Holmes and a couple of these other athletes have been picked up. And you listen to some of these players that are selected to go over there, that through their agents and through other connections, the first thing they hear of is they think it's some sort of like Nigerian Ponzi scheme because they've never heard of the sport before.
That is part of the hurdle, is getting them to understand that it's real. This is a real opportunity.
Speaking of real opportunities, what a segue. Portland with one here as they lead by 5 points, by 4 points here, 24-20. And the mark is taken. They're going to play on quickly up that far side. Off hands They're going to play on nicely. They're just going to soccer that ball on, one-on-one contest. And then, good job of blocking that soccer attempt there by 61, which is Waby, picked up by Tex Edmonds. Edmonds up in the pocket. They just get a kickoff. It's towards the goal. It's across the face.
Beats everybody.
It beats everybody, but just gets inside the behind post for a goal. All right, for a behind, rather.
That's what's so exciting about this game is the ball was 120, 30 meters away, and now we're down on this end. And now we're coming back up on this end. That's what's so exciting about this sport.
So 24-21 the score. I want to talk really quick as we watch the game here. Tom, I know you're a football guy. You're a gridiron guy. I don't know if you've heard of this World War II game called Austus. No, you haven't. Apparently, American soldiers and Australian soldiers in Australia made up a hybrid, as Weeby almost takes the mark. They made up a hybrid game of Australian rules and American football. Basically, it's Aussie rules played with a gridiron ball, but you can throw and mark from a throw.
Had not seen that.
It just came out, I think, this week. They had the rules, like it was completely lost and there was fragments and all that other stuff.
It sounds like something Americans and Australians would do when they got together.
Yeah. Either that or create even something like this, which looks almost like mutant Quidditch. But in any event, we're glad that this game here is growing. And
well, Brian, I don't know if you know the story, how close America came to actually this being our football in.
Nice mark by Warden. Go ahead.
In the late 1890s, a tour came over from Australia and they played some of these games in some college places. Well, at that time, a lot of college kids were getting killed playing American football.
Yes.
And at that time, the colleges were saying, we should be playing this instead of American football. Now, obviously, it never caught on. But even back
Sadly.
at that point, there were, 1897, there was people over here.
You know what's funny is I've seen something about that in the San Francisco Tribune about it. But yeah, Teddy Roosevelt was like, I'm gonna ban this sport if you don't fix it, which obviously they did.
Correct.
So Tom, speaking of colleges, there's a few schools now that have programs. How are those efforts coming along? What sort of support does the USAFL give to teams looking to start a college?
Nice mark.
Or are they essentially managed under a club format, just like the clubs?
It's really hard because colleges all have a little bit different rules on how they run things, but most of them are all, the common thing is it has to be a student that runs it.
Yes.
That's the hard part.
Yes.
And then, you might have a student that runs it for a couple of years, but then once he's gone, then you've got to have somebody that takes over. So that's the hard part of it. And you also have to have
That's got to be holding the ball here.
You also have to have a professor that hosts it.
Right.
You have to have an academic advisor that's a champion for the program and represents the school's interest with the student-run club.
Correct.
Contact, that'll be a free kick to Seattle.
So that really is the hard part. I mean, the way to look at it is we need to be following what rugby did. Rugby laid this out for us. We need to find out exactly how they did it and follow that plan. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Matt Wood will get a free kick here as he was impeded in the ruck contest. He's a pretty good kick from here, and that would give Seattle the lead for the first time in a while.
The metronome. Here he goes.
So here is Matt the metronome Wood. The kick is on the way. The goal umpire did not move. Goal to the Grizzlies. They are in front. It's 26-24.
Mate, this is as good a local derby as it gets. It's been just a tight tussle, and you can see the heat in the two teams.
This is a pretty good contest. I'll say one thing that I think is also helping, even though Seattle, this is their first game because there's only 3. As we take a look at the kick again, looked like it drifted just to the right, but just caught inside the goalpost. One of the things, and Tommy, you and I were in Indianapolis, the fact that it's about 30 degrees warmer, about 20 degrees warmer is actually pretty helpful.
Yeah, this is nice. I could play football in this all day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this is their second game. They still got another one to go.
Well, Seattle's played there first because there's only 3 teams. Portland, this is it. This is it for them.
This is their game, okay.
Yeah. Out of the ruck we go. This is a pretty darn good game here, folks, between Seattle and Portland. The Grizzlies, who won by 4 points in Seattle a couple of weeks ago, are trying to do it again, except this time here in Salem. Up on that far side, Portland still has it. Kept in. DePina is in there again. He just picks it up. We have a whistle. And I think the ball went over and out. There's a lot of bodies over there, a lot of people, a lot of spectators. I'll tell you what, pretty good crowd here considering we have all these teams in, and a lot of spectators, a lot of friends and family, and a lot of curious onlookers to check out this great sport.
I'm seeing a lot of dogs over there today.
Yes, there is. Well, there is a position called rover. Back into the middle. By the way, in case we haven't explained it over the course of our fourth, so the rover is basically the player that goes all over the place and roves, as the name would suggest. Marked and then kicked forward by Portland. That one goes 3. Digging in after it is Zapel for Seattle. And then it's batted up in the air. Conrick for Seattle, can't get to it. Portland able to keep it in as they try to go back in front. Jessup
very nice.
with a nice mark.
Well taken.
I would be keeping my eye on that young man too.
He's had a great game thus far.
Yeah, I've watched him a bunch just now, and he does very, very well in the back. There's a lot for him to learn, but he's one of those guys that's just very athletic.
Coventry with a nice mark.
Coventry, ageless, the Derwent Destroyer.
Yep. Throws that one onto the right, almost marked in front, I believe, by Aguirre.
Again, that's an example of somebody that's new to the game. They'll come up and under the ball and overrun it.
Yes.
With Americans, we always do that because we're used to a spiral.
We're used to pursuit lines too, right? Yeah.
And we normally always come under it. Now this kid, well, if he keeps playing, he'll figure that out and he'll be floating in the back and he'll be very aggressive with that.
He'll pick his line a little better.
Yep.
Sandman turns around. He floats that one in towards the sticks. It's going to roll wide, but a good advantageous situation for Portland. Again, the score 27-24. Seattle up by 3 points. Brian Barish joined by Anthony Lally and the head coach of the U.S. Revolution national team, Tom Ellis. Tommy, there is no parallel cup this year, which is the USA versus Canada. We'll actually talk about that in a second. Let's see what happens off this boundary throw in as they knock that one down. There it is in front. Oh, going to go almost a goalkeeper save by the fullback, and they kick it out to the near side. You generally don't see anybody doing that, but Johnny on the spot right there, and then coming out is Waby. Waby will kick that one on looking for Wood dead in the middle of the park. And now here comes Seattle, but it's turned over, and Portland has it as they kick that one in back towards the goal. Marked. And he's going to play on. Handballs it over to the near side. They kick that one up to the left side.
Coventry.
And Coventry is there, and he's like a center fielder. He'll have a bounce. He'll have a look. Sells Kennedy to the inside.
And go.
Kicks that one in towards the goals. And
that's a point.
Through for a point. I almost thought there would have been high contact, but there isn't. Or what happened? Hang on a second. I didn't see the flags.
Must not have. No point.
No point on that. So no score there. It's still 27-24. Getting back into that, Tommy, there is no parallel cup as there usually is in between international cups. So what are you guys going to do to really prepare for over the next season? Really with no games. Go ahead.
Yeah, the way we ran it last year, I took over the job just before the game last year. We played that game, and then basically we've opened it up. We've really gone out. We're having 6 camps. I've been to all the regionals except for the Eastern. We're really trying to just get as many guys a look that we can right now. We'll name our top 50 at nationals. Once we name the top 50 at nationals, we'll have next year where we'll break them into the top 28 that will go to Australia in 17. The 22 guys that have worked so hard to get there that do not go to Australia, we're going to earmark them to go to Europe in 2018.
Do a development tour?
Yes.
Yep. So that's fantastic.
So the guys that go, that had all that work, will get something out of that and help grow the sport.
And as we've been talking there, the final siren has gone on an absolutely wonderful game of Australian football, and the Seattle Grizzlies have defeated the Portland Steelheads for the second time in as many games as they come out winners 27-24. A pretty good game, gentlemen, and we talk about the fact that it's a rivalry match. Doesn't get any better than that.
No, that was great, and I know the Steelheads will be a little bit disappointed with themselves, but Seattle earned that.
Yes.
I mean, they had some really good performances. If you think about Jessup at the back, I thought he kept things pretty tight.
Yes, he did a great job, and so did DePina.
DePina did a great job out in the midfield, but I thought at the back there, that probably made the difference because Portland had them under pressure there, definitely the last 5 or 6 minutes of the half. So it's really good to see Seattle, bump up and improve from last year. And they've got some great new recruits, US-born players. So it's good to see.
What I really like about it is I've seen these guys at nationals in past combined to play it together as a team.
Yeah.
These guys don't need that anymore.
Nope.
None.
They're developing. They've made it to the spot where they're their own teams, and it's really, really good to see.
Well, Tom Ellis, thanks again for joining us. Always appreciate you doing it. And again, best of luck over the next year. I know you've got a lot of work ahead of you, but you're doing a fantastic job, and keep it up.
I appreciate it. Look for the announcement of the top 50 at Nationals.
Looking forward to it.
That's another game here from the Western Regionals here on CCTV. Again, the Seattle Grizzlies win 27-24. We'll have another game for you at some point. Be sure to join us then. For Anthony Lally, Tom Ellis, and everyone else here in Salem, this is Brian Barish. We'll see you next time.
Support for tonight's program was provided by MAPS Credit Union, premier sponsor of Salem Kaiser Schools. Visit one of our convenient locations in the Willamette Valley or our website, mapscu.com. And by Les Schwab Tire Centers, doing the right thing since 1952. Experience the Les Schwab difference at your neighborhood Les Schwab Tire Center or visit us on the web at leschwab.com.